Welcome to High Floor Fantasy. I'm Chad, and these are my top 10 quarterbacks heading into Week 8. Welcome back. Let's get right into this. I have a new guy at number 1. These are my rankings for coming up for Week 8. I've changed things up a little bit. I'm not telling you about what just happened. I'm telling you we're starting to look forward now. Finally making that change midway through the season. Number 1, you can see there, Jalen Hurts. The number one thing I have in my notes that I wanted to say about Jalen Hurts, I finally got a new thumbnail. He dethroned Mahomes for the thumbs, so I'm happy about that to start with. He has been very consistent this year. He comes in really at about a 9. Well, not really. He comes in at 9.43 out of 10. I'm also switching up the way I'm going to talk about consistency. I'm not going to talk about standard deviation anymore. It's too counterintuitive, and I came up with a new formula so that I could put them on a scale of 1 to 10, and Jalen Hurts is way up there, man, 9.43 out of 10. He's also number 2 in fantasy points behind only Tom Brady. He is headed into a little bit of a difficult matchup this week with against Detroit. They're allowing less than 20 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks. But he's still a quarterback number 1 for Week 8. He's a guy I missed on early in the season or in the preseason, but now he's up here for Week 8. I got him at number 1. Number 2, Tom Brady. What a game. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions against the Bears. And he hit that milestone with 600 passing touchdowns. The fan with the ball finally caved in, so he gave it back to him, but he's going to get some stuff. And I think he still wants to play golf with Tom Brady. I don't know if that's going to happen. New Orleans is only allowing 13 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks. That's who Tom Brady's going to play. But they haven't seen Brady yet, and Brady's going to do Brady things. Number 3, Matt Stafford. He continues to climb up the leaderboard. He's 334 yards, 3 touchdowns against his former team last week. Texans are allowing a fairly generous 20 average points per game to opposing quarterbacks. And then I'm just going to say week after week I say this, but I'm happy for him and I'm happy for the teams that I have him on. There's Matt Stafford at number 3. Number 4, Kyler Murray. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a blowout of Houston. Green Bay is allowing a little over 18 points per game to opposing quarterbacks. But I looked this one up. His Week 8 matchup is the over-under is 51 points. So this could be a shootout with Aaron Rodgers and Kyler Murray. Number 4 headed into Week 8. Number 5, finally dethroned from the thumbnails, is Patrick Mahomes. He is listed as questionable right now, but he talked to reporters after the game. He got knocked in the head, and he had to come out of the fourth quarter. But he did talk to the reporters, so we know he's not in the concussion protocol. He did have a down week in Week 7. Nobody's perfect, and everybody's going to have a bad week. New York Giants, he's facing allow almost 19 points per game to opposing quarterbacks. And we are talking about Mahomes. I wouldn't expect the slump to last long. So Mahomes at number 5. Number 6, Joe Burrow. He is finding that connection with C.J. Uzomah, and last week also Jamar Chase for a touchdown. New York is somewhat stingy. New York Jets is somewhat stingy, only allowing 17 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks. But now get this. How about this number? I had to I wonder if it's a typo somewhere. But he passed for a whopping 416 yards in Week 7. I was like, man, if he keeps that up, you keep him in your lineup. So Joe Burrow, number 6 for me going into Week 8. Number 7, Ryan Tannehill. He is near the top of the pack in consistency, just like Hurts is. He's at like 9.15 out of 10. He hasn't been the highest scoring quarterback. So you can be consistently high scoring. You can be consistently in the middle of the pack. You can be consistently bad. He's consistently been fairly good. He's not shoot the lights out, but he is reliable. He also has a rushing touchdown in back-to-back games. So you want that 6-point touchdown. He can do it. He can get it done on the ground. Middle of the pack in matchup this week with the Colts could be a streamer for you if you're doing that, or definitely a number 2 in Superflex, which is what I do. He's kind of come back. He fell out of the top 10 for a while, but I got him at number 7 going into week 8. Number 8, Josh Allen. Glad to see him back in the top 10s. He's been buggered a little bit by consistency this year, but it's not because he has had down weeks. It's because he's had 2 really sort of shoot the moon weeks. One week was over 40 fantasy points, and one week was just shy of 40. So consistency, it's better to have a guy who's inconsistent because he has a few very high scoring games than it is to have a guy who's inconsistent because he's had some, too many bad weeks, too many low scoring weeks. So yes, he's not the most consistent, but he's on the high end of average, so of average points per game. So the inconsistency you can deal with. Coming up this week against the Dolphins, they allow 20 points per game to quarterbacks on average. Allen's average is around 30, so I don't think he's going to have a problem. Got Josh Allen at number 8 for week 8. Number 9, Aaron Rodgers. 3 touchdowns, 274 passing yards. So what did he say at the beginning of the season when he had that terrible game? He was like, it's just one game, something like that. Well, he's proving that, and he's proving that he's moved on. Cardinals, Arizona are quite a stingy defense. They're only allowing not even 14 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterback. So if you're doing DFS, he might not be the best option, but in one quarterback leagues, and especially in Superflex leagues, you're starting him. Aaron Rodgers at number 9. This one is going to drive some of you nuts. You're going to, and so you can see Taylor Heinicke at number 10 for me headed into week 8. How in the world could this guy have Taylor Heinicke above guys like Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly why I have it. It's a combination of things. Floor rating comes into it. Consistency comes into it. Matchup comes into it. As far as consistency, he has been more consistent than either Justin Herbert or Dak Prescott. He's also showing he can get it done on the ground. He's definitely showing a dual threat. He had 95 rushing yards in last week's game. And he's facing a pretty soft defense in Denver. So this is why it's only 1 week. So if you have Herbert, if you have Prescott, don't be going crazy. They're still going to do fine. This is one guy's opinion about one player for 1 week. Herbert and Prescott could be back in the top 10 next week, and they're only a few spots down anyway. But based on a combination of things, this is where Taylor Heinicke sits for me this week. Matchup, consistency, floor rating, he's at number 10 for week 10. That's going to do it for the quarterbacks. Follow me on the socials. Please consider supporting the channel on Patreon. You can head over there. You get more audio, more video, and expanded information about the players. I really appreciate that. Stick around for a few more seconds, and you can click through to another one of my videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.